Today, we are going to learn about how to use Zoho CRM's Webform module on your website. What this does is when someone fills up the form on your website, the data comes directly into Zoho CRM's lead module or the contacts module. We would learn step by step on how to configure the web forms, how to embed the web forms on your website, and what options does Zoho provide while you configure this web form. In case you have any doubts, any queries, do comment. We would be happy to connect with you and answer those. Let's have a look at the demo and let's get started. Today, we would discuss about web forms. Now, if you see right now, I'm on my home screen. You see my beautiful dashboard here. To create a web form, you would need to go to Setup, and under Developer Space, you would see Web Forms. You can also search for web forms in this search bar, and you would be taken to the web form screen. You see four options here. One, web forms. Two, A/B testing. Three, auto response rules. And four, unsubscribe links. We would discuss more on the web form today, and we would also touch base on A/B testing and auto response rules. To create a new web form, I simply click on the new form option here. I type in the name of the form. I can apply this web form onto either leads, contacts, or cases module. Now, if you have custom module created, they will be listed here as well. We will talk about how to create custom modules in a separate video, but for the purpose of this video, I will use the leads module. I click on the create button here. By default, the system has already put company and last name here. But if I want more fields, I can simply drag and drop those fields here. For example, I'm putting an email and phone number. Zoho also provides me with advanced fields like file upload, captcha, or privacy policy. I can put them here as well. If you see here, by default, there are two buttons, submit and reset. Generally, people will not want a reset button, and you cannot remove it from the front end as of now. But there are workarounds which are possible to remove this. I will shortly discuss how to do that. Now, once you have built this form, you can definitely change the font size, the font color, the alignment as well. Also, for each of these fields here, you can set properties. For example, on this email field, I can rename the label. I can mark it as hidden. I can mark this as required field, or I can add a hint. If I mark this as a required field, there is an asterisk mark which will come, and then user will not be able to submit the form until he fills up this field. I can also add a hint message here of what needs to be done. For example, I add that the email address needs to be put in here. So I say, please enter email, and I save this. You see here, there's a small icon which comes, which is a hint icon, and it displays a message, please enter email. Unfortunately, Zoho does not allow you to modify this layout right from here. But there are ways, as I mentioned earlier, we can use the code directly which Zoho provides to modify and put it on your website. Once we have set up this form, we can click on the next button here. Now, when we click on the next button, we have this field which talks about form location URL. Here, you can define where this form is going to be placed, which means if it's going to be placed on the home page or contact us page, that link comes over here. In case you want to use this form on multiple pages, you can simply define an asterisk and you can place this form on any page on your website. Now, this landing page URL talks about the redirect. Once the user submits the data, where should the page get redirected to? That's what gets defined here. So, if I fill up the form and submit the data, I will automatically be redirected to this page, which is a thank you page, or we will get back to you page. Here, you can define tags. So in case someone fills up the form, what tag should you be used in Zoho CRM to identify the data coming from this form. You also have an option to do a double opt-in here, which means that when someone submits the form, the data will not come in your CRM, but rather an email would be triggered to this person filling up the form to click on a URL and confirm a double opt-in. I personally do not prefer this option, but in case you want to use it, you can use it. Now, from a notification perspective, you can use this option to notify the lead owner. You can either use the system generated mail template or you can create a custom template of your own. You also have the option to acknowledge the visitor by defining auto response rule, wherein you can define a rule based on location, based on product, or any parameter you capture while the form is getting filled. You also can choose a default response for all the visitors in one shot. Zoho allows you also to track all the visitors by using the power of Sales IQ, which is a different application from Zoho. If Zoho Sales IQ is integrated with Zoho CRM, you can select the Sales IQ portal from here. And from here, the data from Sales IQ can directly flow inside Zoho CRM. Now, Zoho has an option here for defining an approval. In case you want the leads to be approved before they get into the CRM, you can enable this option as well. Now, once we have done our settings for the web form, we simply click on save here and we get options of embedding our web form into our website. Now, Zoho basically would provide you with three options. One is the source, embed, and iframe. The embed and iframe are very similar. It's like embedding the data or embedding the iframe inside your website. So basically, it will just replicate what you saw here inside your website. The source option, whereas, is very much different, wherein it gives you the entire source code to embed with the styling. That means that you can modify the styling to give it a look and feel you want on your website. You can copy this whole code and modify it the way you want it, apply necessary CSS to it, and it will look exactly the way your web form should look to match the styling of your website. I personally prefer the source code option because it gives me more control. It's a bit technical because it has a lot of CSS data, but any web designer would be able to go and change this and get it exactly the way it should look on your website. I would suggest this option to you. We have the embed and the iframe option. I generally do not recommend this option because of two reasons. One, you lose control of how the look and feel is on your website. So the web form might not look very in line to the website colors. You might not be able to place the input options where you want them to be. Also, one problem what I see with iframes is once the user clicks the submit option, the redirect which is defined in our previous screen, it only redirects the smaller iframe, not the whole page. Now that's a big problem what I see here, and that's the reason I recommend to go with the source option always. Now let's talk about the A/B testing option. Very similar to the name it has, A/B testing, you can actually create multiple versions of the same form. So for example, if I have to create a A/B test for this form, I can create a A/B testing, I can give it a name, and I can define a set here. Now what this does is basically it will replace the form on my website in a random manner. For example, there is a visitor come, it will say or show form A. When the next visitor come, it will show form B. Now, with this behavior, we would be able to get statistics and analytics on which form is more likely to be filled, how many people are filling which form. These variations may be variations in color, variations in button placements, variations in theming. This way, we can understand user behavior and what is the best form we can use on our website. The downside to this is you can only use the iframe or the embed option here while you create these A B tests. You would not be able to use the A B test with the source option, which I feel makes the whole point useless of having an A B test, because iframe and embed do not give you more control over styling of the form. Now, when we talk about A/B testing as well as forms here, we definitely need to understand the analytics. My demo instance is not connected to any website, but if you connect it, you would start getting analytics of the web form. You get overall analytics from web forms across you have built. You get details of geography, like which geography people are submitting from. You get details of lead conversions, like how many leads are getting converted from which form. You get details of revenue conversions, how much revenue from which form. You get details of individual form levels as well. For example, the homepage form, you understand how many visitors, how many submissions, how many leads got created from that individual forms as well, and definitely the deals and revenue generated altogether. These analytics actually help us analyze and understand why these forms are important and which form is getting us the best revenue. I hope this gives you a very good understanding about web forms. In case you have any questions, do write to us or comment below, and we would be happy to answer them for you.